YouTube, Friendly Neighborhood Van Hammer's back. Sort of. um, Figured let you know what's going on. I am still going to make videos, and this is going to be the first official Van Hammer tips. It's called Things for the reason that I'm going to tell you. Okay. Originally, I was supposed to have these started out in October. Well, this is November, and this is the first. Turns out my other room over there where I used to do videos, the studio, so to speak, is not YouTube friendly. It games great, play internet games no problem, good gaming system, not much of a video making system. So I've now transferred to the garage. If you've been watching any of the Engineer Jeff live streams with me, you've noticed I've been out here for a few weeks, and which doesn't give me an excuse not to make videos. But here they go. This first one, like I said, is going to be things. The reason it's going to be things is I went to start making videos the other day. Well, back in October, and realized everything I needed is in there, in the studio, basically. So as I started getting stuff out, I go, wait a second, why start throwing out tips to do stuff when people might not have the things they need to get started? So I figured, well, first video will be things. Of course, you'll need bits and bobs and other stuff to get started, but we'll get into that as the tips actually start coming in. But this is the things you'll need to sort of do what I do, or how I do stuff. So, first video, things. Basically, to start off with, you've got your miniatures, you've got your bits you want to add, or sculpt. You'll need your medium, your sculpting medium, started off with. We're going to start off with some sculpting mediums. Of course, you got your classic green stuff, which, if you've watched me before, you know what this stuff is. This is a 2-part epoxy, basically 1-to-1 or 1 to a ratio for different hardnesses. It's easy to work with, but there's still a learning curve. There's little things that you will learn for how to mix to get a different stiffnesses and stuff like that. But green stuff generally easy to work with, and given time, anybody can do it. I mean, that's why I make the videos, so to show you guys how to do your own, or how I do stuff that maybe you can take a little run from and be able to do it for yourself. But green stuff is my chosen medium. There's other stuff out there, depending on where you're at in things, but usually the internet, good source for it, and there's expensive green stuff and there's cheap green stuff. It's the same green stuff. So where you can find it the cheapest, buy it. If you can support a local store by buying it from them, buy it from them. But if you get a chance and find it a lot cheaper on the internet, say they want $10, find it on the internet for $8, it's your call. But I would go for the $8. But green stuff. Of course, some people might have trouble getting green stuff. There's Milliput. Milliput also works just like green stuff. To me, there's not a lot of difference. This can be generally a little firmer most of the time, so just varying the collars, just like with green stuff, it should make it more green stuff like. Green stuff tends to be a little softer on a 50-50 mix than what this will be on a 50-50, but you'll learn as we go how to adjust that variant. But Milliput works just like green stuff, same stuff, just sometimes it seems to be a little firmer, at least to me, because I generally like to work with softer tools on my clay shapers and stuff, so it feels a little firmer. But then again, it also hold better details sometimes. for the firmness. So it's a give and take, but milliput, green stuff, to me is the same ballpark. Just a little bit of practice will get you where you need to be. And for nothing else, they're super sculpty. Sorry, the glare here, but this is good old super sculpty. That's a 1 pound box. I think I'd give $7 or $8 for it for 1 pound. And the stuff pretty much, a 1 pound will last you pretty much forever doing what we do. A 1 pound might make a giant sculptor, a giant bust or whatever, but this for making miniatures will last you forever. I've still got the original box that I bought. It's virtually empty. That's why I went ahead and picked this one up. But still, 5 to 7 years to do a pound is a pretty good deal when you give $7. But also for sculpting, what I like to do a lot of times if I'm just watching YouTube and listening to music or whatever, just sitting out, sitting in the shop working, and there's something I want to try with the green stuff. Say you're not real familiar with making skulls. Get you some super sculpting and just practice making skulls to the size you need. It's a little easier to make a bigger skull than a little skull and get them both looking the same, but super sculpting will give you the practice to do it, because if you mess it up, you just smash it and start over, and it doesn't change nothing. Where in green stuff, practicing with green stuff to make skulls will get expensive, because after 30 or 40 minutes you got what you've got, and you can't mash it and start over. This mash and start over, and I'll set with like a little ball of it and make whatever and say, okay, that's how I do that. And then once you figure it out, then try it with the green stuff. But that's what this makes the best for me anyway, is to use it just to practice, do stuff that you're not familiar with. And it's also good for bulking out armatures. So if you made an armature, just a wire armature, and you want to use green stuff to build it, you can take this and bulk out the thick sections, the arms, the legs, and whatever. Once you get the pose you want, and you can bake it. You can also bake it for a complete miniature if you get that, get to where you like what you're seeing. But remember, if you're trying to use it for adding plastic to miniatures, the plastic will melt before this stuff does. So be careful baking this with plastic. A couple other things just to get you started in the thing is, I mean, like with me, I've got like buckets of these sculpting tools. Just general. This is right here is just generally clay stuff. And I've got bigger clay stuff, little clay stuff, but this is the extremes of miniatures. Little container. I mean, you don't have to have all these, but if some of the things you will need to get started is a stylus. This is just a stylus and a wedge. Plastic, relatively inexpensive. You can pick up for cheap. Just a little cutting knife, just so you can cut your stuff. It's not as sharp as a metal one, but it will cut your plastics or your soft green stuff a little smoother on it. And you got the same set had this little cutting wedge here, plus a smoothing point for rounding out. I mean, then you've got like little roller to come in it, great for flattening out your stuff. So that whole little set probably wasn't $5. Just shop around and you probably find them on sale. But you will need a better cutting piece for chopping plastic and stuff like that. I mean, just something cheap like these little Harbor Freight cutting blades, little snap off blades. I mean, that will chop just as good as an X-Acto knife. Just get used, something to pick up to start off with. If you've already got X-Acto knives, which being into hobby you probably do, you're good to go. But if you're just getting started out, that's a good place to start. Get you something to start with. Of course, if you're little exact cutter for chopping your some sprues, and if you've already got one, you're a step ahead. But might pick you up one of these too if you're just starting out. A decent pair of tweezers is also good. I mean, like these right here is just a little surgical tweezer. Reach in here, snatch stuff, you're good to go. Little things, like you don't have to have everything. You don't have to have, like me, I've got 6 different pairs of tweezers, depending on what you want to do. But you don't need to start out with. One of the things that sorry about that, I got tangled up my stuff here. Another set of tweezers. But one of the things, if you don't have, when you're messing with green stuff, is a clay shaper. These little guys, once I found them relatively early on in YouTube, I just found these guys, and it's just a little shaper tool. This used to be a full chisel. I've wore it off to its round, but you can get them all kind of different shapes. I like to go with soft. This is a little bit more firm, medium, sort of a wedge with a cup in it. Makes a nice little rounded surface. But just a little clay shaper. I mean, this is a number 2 size shaper, also soft, but you use it just to brush in stuff. Like I say, we'll go over more how to use the tools once we get started in the tips, but it wouldn't be bad to have one of these. Just to go a little deeper into the money, is a good stylus. This here stylus is a dual-ended. I've had this thing so long that I can't even remember the name of it. But I put the little cushion grips from where I was using it for hours on end. But this is an invaluable tool for doing what we're doing. And relatively cheap. I don't think I'd give $2 for this back in the day. Just check around find you good specials. Hobby Lobby, Dick Blick, wherever you go, they will have discounts on these guys. Check them out, find some. But like I say, if you've already got all this stuff, you're ready to go. If you're new to the game, pick just a couple of the things up. Like I say, find you some green stuff, a couple cheaper sculpting tools. For stylus, if you need to. I mean, I've used dental picks. You can pick those up. Just a little toothpicks to do it. Put a nail on a pencil will get you a stylus. Just cut the one end off, push it into a soft piece of wood, put your little tape or super glue there at the end. You now have a stylus. Just but good thing to have. I use like the little picks for picking walnuts out of shells. Those little nut picker, whatever they call them. But if you've already got this stuff, like I say, you're set up ready for the next vid. Stay tuned, guys. Get a chance, keep an eye out for live streaming from me and Jeff and whoever else we can get to join us. And stay tuned, guys. Green stuff will be coming. Just I wanted to get you guys ready, so the first vid's up. Thanks, guys. See you later.